Yo, welcome to another episode of Empire Jeff TV. I am your host, Empire Jeff, coming to you on a Sunday night live from Los Angeles, California. My voice still a bit of a struggle here, man, but Los Angeles Dodgers get the win tonight. 9, I'm gonna say it again, 9-0 over the New York Mets in game 1 of the 2024 NLCS. Great win, great blowout win, great way to start this series. Just overall, just fantastic, man. This is the game we needed, exact type of start to this series that we needed, especially after the stressful game 5, stressful last series, stressful last couple weeks of the season. So this was the exact type of game that we needed. And, sometimes you got to announce your presence with authority out the gate. And speaking of that, might as well go ahead and bring someone who announces his presence with authority out the gate, Mr. Joseph Soro. Welcome to the show here. What's going on, Joe?
Top of the evening to you.
Top of the evening to you, man. Great way to kick off this series, Joe. This could have went a lot of different ways. Could have been a classic trap game out the gate after what happened with San Diego. Flaherty, notoriously known for not being a great first inning pitcher, shut it down 1, 2, 3, pretty much most innings. They came out sharp. They came out locked in. They scored, I think, 3 out of the first 4 innings of the game. Offense was there. The arms was there. The management was there. Looked like a mismatch out the gate. The Mets looked a little shocked. Nothing that worked for them previously worked. Senga was a hot mess. Couldn't throw a strike to save his life. And I'm not sure, Joe, if we could have asked for a better start to this series than we got tonight.
I can't argue against that. I knew Senga was going to struggle. I just didn't know it would be as quick.
I think your volume's a little low. I don't know if that's on my end or 1 second here.
I'm good over here.
Okay. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah. So can you hear me well now?
Let me just see if it's on my end. Okay, go ahead. Maybe I just have it turned down here.
Am I good?
Oh, that's better. You sounded louder there.
Yeah, everything's good on my end. Everything seems
There we go.
good.
There we go. It's right now.
So, sorry. So Senga, I knew Senga was going to struggle. I just didn't know it would be as quick as it was.
Mm-hmm.
And what happens when you start seeing 2-0 starts, and then you add the fact that the Dodgers are the #1 team in terms of not chasing. The Dodgers were chasing a little bit at the beginning of the NLDS, and it was especially Max Muncy. They didn't need to chase. I think Lux was chasing a little bit too.
Muncy was bad, real bad.
Muncy was bad, and Roberts, it was reported that Roberts had sat him down and talked to him. And I'm gonna be saying some things about Roberts here, but I might as well start throwing some stuff here. EJ, come on, man. How many times have you in the last? Okay, let's just say in the last 9 seasons that Dave Roberts has been managing. When was the last time? And I'm sure it's happened, but when was the last time you saw 2 bunts in the same game?
Yeah. And
I can't remember.
And an attempted third.
Yes.
Yeah. That this looked like old school manufactured baseball. You're right. I can't recall it. At least not in the last 5 years for sure.
And I'm going to really try to paint the picture here as best I can, because I know I got a lot of young guys here that don't remember old National League baseball. Basically hit, get the guy to second by bunting, and then singles, things like that. Manufacture the runs. I know I've been asking Dave Roberts to blend in situational baseball with analytics. When you watch Moneyball, and most of the people in sports have, there's a scene in there where Brad Pitt says, they're going to bunt and they're going to give you an out. We don't get in their way. They're making the mistake. We let them. And that's why that movie was so full of you-know-what. That's not how it works. It works in analytics. It doesn't work in spaces like this. And I know Shohei had a lot to do with that, because this guy is 16 of 19 now with runners in scoring position, and that played a factor in it. But I am in complete amazement that Roberts has melded the two things together, which is something we've been begging him to do. And he has. He's done it. It's not a surprise that this is the result. We've been asking him to do it. He's finally done it. And tonight was the first night I actually heard solid evidence that Roberts knew that there was a possibility he was going to get bounced if they lost. Yeah,
they talked about it during the broadcast, and he spoke about it and talked about it and was pretty candid about it. And I think we touched on this. Sorry, my voice is still a struggle here. We touched on it on the last episode, saying that we saw it when he basically said, if I'm going down my way. And he brought a pulse back to this team. And it's funny you mentioned the bunting, because I was at my brother-in-law's house and we were watching it. And one of my other brother-in-laws was just like, why? Lux can hit. Why do they do that? Why do they do that? I go, you got to understand it. Watch when the next time Lux comes up and he grounds out to the shortstop. It would have been a double play in this situation, right? The job is to ensure and make sure that Shohei gets up to bat. Not only that, but everything changes when you have a runner on first versus a runner on second. The pitcher is more taxed. You have more defenders worried about coverage. There's a lot of things that differ from when a guy's at first than when a guy's at second. And then you have Shohei coming up. So you had Lux did it. You had Edmund do it. You had all these guys do things just to make sure that their guy, who is on one of the best streaks we've ever seen with hitters and running with runners in scoring position, got a chance to bat, and he cashed it in. Joe, he hit the ball so damn hard that it bounced right in front of him and still got past first. He clubbed that baseball, and that's what it is. And you touched on it. Some of the younger baseball fans, that's how you scored runs back in the day. There'd be a lot of 1-0, 2-1, 3-2, and those 1 runs were so important that you had to do things like this and sacrifice an out. And in analytics, to them, everything is exact. But the game of baseball is not always exact. So to me, moving a runner into scoring position, that is worth the out. You should try to take that away from me. Yeah, if I'm the other manager, I'm bringing in close, trying to get a double play off that bunt to discourage it. But today's game doesn't really do that. So why it's so important is when you have a bullpen like the Dodgers have, every run matters that you get up on them. So At the time, we didn't know it was going to be 9-0, right? They came out focused, locked in, manufacturing runs out the gate. And Joe, they won 9-0 without a single home run tonight. And that, the bunting, the timely hitting, the moving. Outside of that, I was only pissed in the bottom of the first when Mookie, for some reason, refused to run. Didn't want to steal second. Didn't want to score from third on the tag up. Outside of that, I think they nailed pretty much everything.
That play was interesting. I rewound it to see what the deal was. Did Abel stop him?
No, he didn't think the guy was deep enough. The way he caught the ball, first of all, they talked about it in the broadcast. So he caught it flat-footed. He had no momentum going towards it. Obviously, Mookie didn't know the throw was going to be offline, right? In hindsight, he would have beat it because the throw was offline. If the throw was direct, he might have got him. But because it went offline, hindsight's 2020. But my thing is the Mets do not hold you on well when it comes to stealing bases. And the fact that Mookie had multiple jumps. And on the broadcast, they even said he's going. And all of a sudden we see him back at first, like, what happened? So Mookie's my guy, but I was a little annoyed with him not looking to steal that base there and get into scoring position because Freddie was on one today. Freddie was putting the bat on the baseball. And Max Muncy got a key 2-out single. We were looking like we may have, as terrible as Senga was, it was looking like they were approaching getting out of that inning unscathed. And Joe, we've seen this a million times. A guy has a rocky start. He gets out of it, and then all of a sudden he hits you with like 5 scoreless, right? So it was imperative that they scored in that bottom of the first. So shout out to Muncy for that.
It was. And that's the difference now versus, I guess, what's happened in the past is there's just too much. There's just too much now. You know, the thing with Shohei, the fact that there's this added stress of trying to avoid him, it really taxes you. The longer you get into this run, the more it's going to tax you. It's just too much talent. There's too much talent. And then when you want to add in starting pitchers that were supposed to be secondary types,
yep,
dropping 1, 2, 3 innings every other inning now. And then even when you are getting somebody on base, they're striking out the rest of the guys. It just becomes a mental fatigue, especially as you get longer into this. I'm not going to say the Mets are taxed, but there was an interesting body language that I saw. I saw body language that looked very similar to the San Diego Padres.
Mm-hmm.
I don't care how good the Mets played. I don't care how many runs they've come back from. They're not better hitters than the Padres.
They're not. They're not. Their bullpen isn't better either. Their arms aren't better either.
Right. So with that, I'm very comfortable with Buehler starting tomorrow or a bullpen session, either way. But what's likely to happen here is the Mets have to score against pretty good pitching now, it looks like, and then have to deal with an elite bullpen. And on top of that, you have the stress of dealing with Ohtani anytime he has somebody on base.
And the bottom of the lineup, mid to bottom, is starting to get on base and starting to get hits.
And that's the part I want. That's the point I wanted to get to. This is obviously elementary information I'm giving you, but what I'm getting at now is the Mets are not better. They don't have better pitching. They don't have better hitters. They have pretty good hitters, Lindor and Polar Bear. Yeah, sure. And then thank you, Winky, for I call him Winky. Thank you, Winky, for that base running gas.
Yep.
That probably kept our scoreless run thing. They wouldn't have won even if they.
No, but that would have gave them first and third with no.
Right.
Out.
They would have probably scored maybe, but they're not. They would. I never felt like they were going to win the game. But thank you anyways, because now we're tied for the record 33 straight scoreless innings in playoff history. And by the way, the two teams that were, I think, had the record, it was the 1905 San Francisco Giants and the 1966 Baltimore Orioles. Both won the World Series that year. So good signs there. But one of them
beat us in the World Series.
Yeah, this has to be the beginning of now the Dodgers are like, okay, this is ours. And do we want to come back from New York? No. Do you think you can sweep? Probably not. They'll probably get a game. But you take this to 5 and you win it. Now you're going to the World Series knowing that the San Diego Padres were arguably the best team in the MLB. You just played the hottest team, and you heard me on my text early on the game. How many times did they mention they've been the best team since June? I was sitting there and I was eating and drinking, and every time did I rewind this?
No, it's a
What's
storyline
going on here?
It's
so everything is the hottest this and the hottest that and the hottest that, and all I know is the Dodgers are taking that hot and they're taking a nice leak on it.
They're putting it out.
Keep it going. My only hope, this is the only thing that I was thinking about today, is if they happen to beat this team 4 or 5, I hope the other one doesn't go 7. Because
then you kind of end up in that that weird thing like you do in the wild card run, right? Go ahead. Finish your point.
What I was saying is I don't want them to be scorching hot and then they got to wait a week again.
Yeah.
A week after the season's over, okay, they're kind of regroup, and they still won game 1. And maybe it might not matter anyways. Maybe it actually helps. It helps Freddie get a little bit better too. So maybe it doesn't matter. But that's the thoughts I had today. And it was so nice to just be able to enjoy the Sunday evening. Today is technically like a Saturday because tomorrow's a holiday, but sort of a holiday. The game's at 1:00 tomorrow. But I had a lovely Sunday. Enjoyed the game. Enjoyed just being relaxed. And man, 7 more wins.
7 more. So I'm answering a couple of these questions real quick. One, someone asked if I'm still confident that it's 5 or if it's a sweep. I still think it's 5. I think the Mets are good enough to get 1, especially in their own stadium. I think they'll get 1. I picked Dodgers in 5 before this series. I'm still sitting on that. And I want to touch on this. AOG34 said, but educate me on something. Why y'all doing the bullpen game tomorrow? And I think this is an important question, and I also think it's the right call. I think if this series goes 6, I think we see 2 bullpen innings, and I think they will both be at home. The reason I say that is you're more than likely going to get the bullpen game tomorrow because you're going to have 3 straight games in New York potentially, and you're going to rely heavily on your bullpen in those 3 straight games. So it's best to get that bullpen game out of the way, have a travel day, then have your starter go, which will probably be Walker Buehler in game 3, and then you have your relievers. You do not have to use any of your high leverage relievers today. They had a game off between the Padre series and today. They did not get used today. They will probably be used tomorrow, depending on the score. And then you get another day off. And then you got 3 straight games in New York against the Mets in Shea Stadium. Probably not best to go with the bullpen game to start that there. Walker Buehler is going to be the guy there. You have to find. Here's the thing. Because I feel this will be over in 5, in my mind, I'm treating this like a 5-game series. That could change at any time. Having said that, if the Dodgers have to prepare as if it's a 7-game series, though, just in case. So they've got to be very strategic how they do this. So I think we'll have a bullpen game in game 2. And if this goes 6, I think the bullpen game will be game 7. And God forbid this goes 7, we have a starter in game 7. It'll be a bullpen game tomorrow. It'll probably be Brazier starting, and they'll probably work their way through that. But that's kind of the realistic reason for it, is you just don't want to go 3 straight games in New York, heavily relying on your bullpen while having a bullpen game. Also, I want to touch on what Joe said too. It was so enjoyable to have a stress-free baseball game today. Stress-free, enjoyable. No, I wasn't anxious at all. Wasn't nervous. I felt we were getting this game the whole time. I feel this is a mismatch. I feel like we have them. And it was really good to get to see the Dodgers put their stamp on this early and let them know we're coming in hot. We're taking this serious. We're all business, and we're looking to sweep you. You may get 1, but we're bringing pressure every single game. We're going to score on you. We're going to stop you from scoring on us, and we want to put this to bed, little brother New York, and then go face big brother New York if they make it. And we knew that, Joe. As soon as they put the Padres to bed, not only us, but it just felt like everyone was like, that was it. That was going to be the toughest team they face. Now, other teams can get hot. Other teams can make things difficult for you. But it just feels like the best of the best we just beat. Now they just can't beat themselves in order to get this series out the way.
Whatever it takes to win the first 2 games at home.
Yep.
the Dodgers win the first 2 games at home in the next 2 series, it would take a catastrophic event for them to lose this run. It's very similar from game 4. Well, you could say game 3 to some degree after the second inning. It's very similar to how they performed in 2017. They swept the D-backs, they destroyed the Cubs, and they were Kershaw pitched a gem in game 1. Gurriel got him in game 2, but we had game 5. We had game 5. We win game 5. We won game 4. We come back, win it in 6. It's a wrap, and probably Kershaw wins World Series MVP. And for all we know, maybe they win game 3 without the trash cans, right? So maybe it would have been 4 or 5. But anyways, the point is, I haven't seen them play like this since 2017. When you look at them in 2018, they barely got out of Milwaukee. Milwaukee a couple gifts. They got out of it. Great series, by the way. Probably a series we don't talk enough about.
That catch, man. That Puig home run and that catch by Taylor.
Yes.
Belly had a big early home run in that game, too.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. It was a great series. One for the books, of course. I don't know why the 2018 team doesn't get enough flack for being a bunch of cheaters as well, but that's a story for another day right now. Let's look at the positives. 19, you know what happened. 2020, you all know what happened. And this time, all the issues that they've had, they've been able to work around them. And I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that Dave Roberts somehow clicked to something, and the players clicked with him.
Yeah.
And it's also the kind of baseball that you and I have grown up with, that a lot of the guys that are watching haven't grown up with. And I wanted to reiterate that very clearly. This is something I was begging for years ago. Why aren't you doing this? Why are you? They even let Jack go 7 innings. We were sitting there going, oh, he made it to 5. Even we're scammed into that now, right? He let him go 2 more innings. These guys, we know what we're talking about. A lot of you don't know Jeff and I in terms of a team. This is the first of many probably where we're going to be doing this. But I've watched baseball. I know baseball. I've not played it from a professional standpoint, but I know baseball very, very, very well. And I'm just elated that for the first time in the Roberts era, hell, the last decade and a half almost, where I've seen an adjustment in that moment that makes sense. And if the Dodgers win this year, I believe what was going to likely happen after 2017 is probably going to happen now, because we got Teo, we got Ohtani in his prime, and we have Yamamoto now. And I don't know who else we're going to be bringing in, but Friedman is good at, bringing in help. It's going to set there's going to be a mindset now when they win. This isn't the kind of team that's going to go, oh, we won a World Series and we're done. This is not how. If there's anything with this team, is they're resilient.
Yep.
They're resilient no matter what, right? And if they win this year, I'm going to say it today that we're going to be looking at a possible dynasty run here.
Yep. I think we end up looking like the late 90s, early 2000 Yankees if we win it this year. You're right. All their key pieces, I think Teo, that's going to be worked out. They obviously want him. He wants to be here. I think in their heart of hearts, they wanted to see how he performed in the playoffs because he hadn't really had any. He's only been in wild card rounds and lost all of them. I think they wanted to see how it all went. They will add another pitcher, starting pitcher, probably a lefty. I think they're going to go even harder into this bullpen because I think they're going to be forced to limit their starting pitchers' innings. I think someone we got all winter to talk about this, but I'm telling you right now, Tanner Scott is a legitimate chance for the Dodgers. Legitimate. And you add someone like that. You have Kopech, you have Trinan, you have Phillips, and you add a lefty in there. Anyways, I don't want to get too ahead. I want to talk about this.
You're right. I started this. It's my fault. Let's continue.
No. I it's been in my mind too. Also, let me get to this super chat real quick. Sorry, guys. Daniel, thank you so much, man. Appreciate you. with the $4.99 super chat. Said, sup, fellas? What a win this series. Awesome weekend. Celebrating my 21st with friends watching the game. Hey, happy birthday. Happy 21. There's nothing like it, man. Live it up. Enjoy it. It's a good, what a time to be alive, 21, man. So bless you. Enjoy it. Thank you so much for the super chat. You are greatly appreciated. And also, guys, drop a like on the video if you have not done so already. Subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. Make sure to also go over where Joe and Gerald and all the guys over there on Lakers Fast Break. I'm sure Serge has put their link in the chat. Shout out to Serge as well. Appreciate you, brother. But go ahead and subscribe to Lakers Fast Break here as well. And drop a like on the video. Would greatly appreciate it. Real quick promo, real quick. Why does this keep happening on StreamYard? It just disappears. Okay, there we go. All right, so get your MLB, NBA, and NFL gear and more by using our link at Fanatics. Make sure to use our link to get special discounts, and your purchase also helps support the channel because the good people at Fanatics have partnered with us. And when you take care of them by ordering through them and you use our link, they take care of us. So we greatly appreciate it. A lot of good gear over there. A lot of the gear that you see the players wearing during the game. Every round they advance, there's new gear popping up over there. Use our link. Get the sporting attire you like, and it's a win-win situation. So appreciate you guys that have done so already and those who will do so in the future. Joe, let me ask you a question here. Flaherty, like I said, who's notoriously known for being a letdown in the first inning. He's also well known to give up the bomb. And the fact that he went in there, handled that first inning so great, all innings, great. He mentioned something that I thought was interesting. And I think this gets overlooked in sports a lot because everyone just expects everyone to be professional. Everyone expects them to be able to tune things out. He's playing for his childhood team, the team that he grew up watching. He's from Burbank, not too far from the stadium. He's wanted to be a Dodger his entire life. He went out there. He was being antagonized. He had the whole Manny thing, everything going on there with the Padres. That was his game that all happened in, right? Things thrown from the stand, the robbed home run, all this stuff. He admittedly said he was probably a little rattled and caught up in the emotion of that game. And he said today when he was out there doing his warm-ups that he spotted his mom in the stands. And he was able to lock in and kind of use it as his safety blanket, focused on her. And it was like that scene in Rookie of the Year where the mom is talking to the kid from the mound. It just reminded me of that, right? And his mom went today. He locked in. And the rest was history. He pitched a dynamite game, but he admittedly, I think we heard about the Roberts thing, how he admittedly talked about that. He admittedly talked about the Manny thing, how he kind of Phil Jackson that and used it to rev his guys up. We're hearing a lot of guys admit stuff in this series, and all of it is, I'm human, and baseball is hard, and I'm going to do what I can to give myself an edge or an advantage to lock in and get things done. But him spotting his mom in the crowd and then going out there and dominating and kind of linking that to him settling himself down, I think was pretty cool.
It is cool because there's a possibility if this becomes a competitive series, which it could be.
Yeah.
That he would possibly, should they win a game in let's say they win their 2 home games and then they win one in New York, they'd be coming back to play game 6 and he'd be on full rest to close out to go to the World Series. That's an interesting scenario should that play out.
Highest pressure right there.
Yeah. And the elegance of playing for your hometown team, playing for a team that's backing you up, it does help. It's amazing how when they shut the guys down in the top of the first, and then right away the boys throw in a couple runs, that ignites you as a pitcher. I've never pitched before. Again, I'm going by people's testimonials and obviously engage in the game. But there's this strength that comes from that. Imagine you do your job and then your team goes, oh, don't worry, boom, here's a couple more runs. Go get them in the second inning, and then it just keeps avalanching. It's very similar to what happened in game 1 when Yamamoto dropped 3 runs at the top of the first.
Mm-hmm.
And then all of a sudden Ohtani said, and I made this up, of course, I even posted on my Facebook, I said, Ohtani went over to his boys, oh, I got you, don't worry about it. And tie the game. When it comes to Teoscar Hernandez, and Shohei Ohtani, these guys have not been a part of the heartbreak. Flaherty has not been a part of the heartbreak. Yamamoto has not been a part of the heartbreak.
You're referring to the Dodger heartbreak, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. They have not dealt with it. The Max Muncies and the Luxes and obviously the Roberts and everyone. So this is not that. It's the things that have affected them or the older crew isn't going to affect these guys, and it shows. If there was an MVP for the NLDS, Teoscar Hernandez would have been the MVP, right?
Yep.
And the hilarious part about the Shohei thing, I was seeing a lot of GIFs and memes about how he didn't do anything in the NLDS.
Crazy.
Oh, he didn't do anything. I go, he practically saved game one.
We probably get swept if he doesn't hit that home run, Joe.
Exactly, because then the older guys are going to sit there and start, puttering around, thinking this is what's going to happen, right? Or the usual is going to happen. And then, of course, Otani. Otani comes in today and hits a double, almost a home run, hits a single, all runs, and then almost hits one out. It's just, at this point, it doesn't matter anymore. None of the stuff that's happened before now matters. It just doesn't. They're smelling it. They're smelling it, and it's time to eat it now. 7 more wins. Get the Mets out of the way here whenever you can. Again, I don't care how you do it as long as you get 4 wins. And then let's go meet Cleveland or New York, and let's whip that ass. Let's put that trophy in the case, and let's bring number 8 home.
Yep. And that's it right there. And not only was it Ohtani in that, but Teo also had that hit in that game one, those drove in those 2 runs. So you're right. It's those guys who hadn't been through that. And it is kind of, you're right. Because we heard A-Rod talk about how the guys want to win this for Ohtani, that they're fighting for him because he's never been here and he's carried them. I think there is some truth to that, but I also think there is truth to what you said about him picking up his guy Yamamoto. Did you see how excited he was for him on Friday? Right. And then, again, that it was Teo who also had a home run in that game, So it was like these guys who haven't been through this. And I think there's guys, we talked about it. Like, we have so many guys that can win you a playoff game. We talked about that. We even said about Miguel Rojas, right? He's out now. He's hurt. But Kiermaier being able to be put in there late in the game, he could rob a home run. He could rob a home run from someone. Paz is young enough and dumb enough to get up there in a major situation and hit one out the park and just round the bases, right? You got Edman, who is a old school style baseball guy, who can play multiple positions. He's a switch hitter. He can do situational baseball. He's got power. I'm crazy enough to even say that I still think that even Chris Taylor is capable of making a huge defensive play to help us. There are things that guys that maybe can't do with their bats, including Kiermaier, including Taylor, that can still do something to help this team. And that's why I think it's so important how Roberts is using them. So having Kiermaier off your bench defensively, someone like Chris Taylor off your bench defensively, they got Lux out of there, they got Freddie out of there, and they put guys in there, and they're like, we've got a big enough lead. We're not letting the defense let us down. The arms got us. We don't need any more runs. They did get 3 more when they walked Shohei again in front of Mookie, and Mookie cleared the bases. What I want to see, Joe, and I think is going to really be the true deciding factor on whether we win a World Series or not. I really believe this. What happens when the buttons pushed don't work? Because every single button pushed is working. Every single one. What is this team going to do when the streak ends, when a bullpen has a rough outing, if a save gets blown? Like, what is going to happen when everything that seems to be going perfect stops? That's what I want to see from this team, because I think how they rebound from that is why they'll win the World Series. I don't believe, and I don't think anyone nor yourself believes, that they're going to shut everyone out for the rest of these playoffs. Something is going to happen. And I want to see when the buttons that Roberts is pushing don't work, what happens next? Is it, oh, here we go again, right? But I think this team is different. I think the mentality is different. And I think Dave is different. And how they bounce back from stuff like that will almost be as telling as 33 straight innings of shutout baseball, from my perspective.
I think the answer to that question is it'll depend on when. If the Dodgers are up 2-0, they go into game 3 and things don't work out and they lose, I don't think it'll affect them as much. A lot of that would be like, well, they came home, they're desperate, they win the game. I don't know how many times I've watched this series, whether it was basketball or baseball, not so much in hockey because hockey's a weird sport. A lot of fun in that game, right? But in the usual setups is the really good teams win the first 2 games at home, and then the lesser team will sometimes muster enough to win game 3. Then the good team wins a close one in game 4. They're up 3-1. Then the secondary team wins game 5, and then it's over in 6. Don't be surprised if that's how it plays out. I've seen several dominating 6-game wins. Several. One was in 2000 for the Lakers. That was like the one that I always remembered. A lot of that had to do with the fact that Jalen Rose screwed up Kobe's ankle on purpose. No one ever talks about that, by the way.
He admitted it.
Yeah, no one ever talks about why those games went 6. Also, when we talk about the Kings series, no one talks about the fact that Kobe got poisoned before game 2. But again, the point is, the Dodgers are likely ready for anything that comes, and we know this because we saw what happened in game 2 and we saw what happened in game 3. The exact thing that you said happened in those games, and it was and not even those games. The fact that the ball bounced on the umpire's arm on a double. It didn't matter in the end, but it's like, really? So those things, I believe, all happened in like a 3-game scenario. And we've had enough of it in the past. At this point, dude, everything's got to even out at some point. And I'm going to believe it's going to even out. I believe it's evened out at this point. I'm not going to go into, as a fan, watching game 2 and worrying about something to happen. I'm not worried about anything. This team seems to be locked in.
Yeah.
Let them be locked in. If they don't win tomorrow in a close one, okay, well, go take one in game 3. This is baseball. These guys are used to playing these guys 3 times, 4 times. They win at home. Sometimes they win on the road. But the Dodgers are really good at home. So the chances of them losing tomorrow, I feel like only San Diego kind of likes it in LA. I don't think a lot of people like LA typically. But even if they lose tomorrow, I'm not going to sit here and go, oh, man, we're in trouble. You go back to New York and win game 3, and you're back to normal again. And that's the beauty of being able to
That's why tonight's game was so important. And then dominating this game was so important.
It is. And I want to make one more point about this could not have been a worse thing to happen for the Mets. And this is me kind of theorizing this and kind of putting some common sense to it. Yes, those runs in the late innings were not insignificant, like Mookie's single. But see, they didn't intentionally walk Ohtani, but they intentionally walked.
Yeah. It wasn't a free pass, but they gave him nothing to hit.
Right? So now, what did that do? Because this is exactly what I thought. I said, okay, they sort of pitched him, but they didn't. They walked him. And then now you have Mookie coming behind them going, all right, motherfucker. And he hit it. Now the Mets are looking at that, very likely looking at you're not going to be able to walk him. And when Roberts bunted, that was another, besides the fact that he got the guy to second, and it was, by the way, the last 3 bunts have been freaking perfect, by the way.
Yep.
By Roberts doing that, my interpretation, he might not have been thinking this, but mine is like, all right, guys, go ahead. Go ahead. Walk Ohtani. Go ahead, go. They didn't at that sequence, but they did in the 9th. And the funny thing is they didn't have to. So what if Ohtani hits a home run? Everyone's expecting it. But what she did was, what's his name say? DJ Khaled? You played yourself.
You played yourself.
You now did something you shouldn't have done because now you started it. Now you put something in your head like, God dang it.
But he did another one.
We cannot walk Ohtani because Betts is going to come up and you know it's going to be probably at least 2 people on base and you're going to allow at least a run or 2. So this is it's a sequence of decision-making and execution that continues to just pile up. It has piled up against it piled up against the Padres, and it piled up on the Mets tonight. And we're going to see tomorrow. If the Dodgers dominate tomorrow, I don't know what the Mets are going to do in New York.
Yeah, if the Dodgers dominate tomorrow, the Dodgers going up 2-0, I don't see, even in baseball, I don't think there's a world they lose 4 or 5. And the Mets are gonna have to start getting like desperate, right? Maybe they go the Padre route. Maybe Winkler goes out there and starts getting under people's skin. But I think the Dodgers will be ready for that. I think if they go up 2-0 tomorrow and dominate, Joe, I think they just send a message that like we're putting this series to bed in New York. Like I just think I don't think they want to mess around. I think they know how important this bullpen is, and I think they would love to not overtax them in this series and just handle business. And I think the bats are sensing that, and the guys at the plate are like, you've said this numerous times. What do you want from the bats when you get out there and you're down 5-0, right? What do you want from the bats? Because all they're going to do is be pressing, trying to hit home runs to get back in that game, right? So now it's the other side. Now it's like, okay, the bats are giving the arms something to work with here. They're able to stay in the zone. They're able to chase after hitters. They're able to go up there against Lindor, Vientos, Alonso, and all these guys and go after them versus just trying to be on the edges and get them to chase. Now you can like, look, if he hits it, he hits it. I've got a 5-run cushion. If he sends it out of here, it's just going to be him. I'm not walking these guys. He had 2 walks. He slipped a little bit.
I liked it. Honest to God, I like the walk to Lindor, and I like the walk to the polar bear, because what it does, yes, I know there's 2 guys on base, but those guys can change momentum.
Yeah, with one swing.
You didn't need you play it. He played it. I've always said that with Tatis. I've always said that with Manny. I'm like, there'd be games during the season where I'm like, just don't pitch to him. Let him go on first base, even if there's a guy on second, or on first. Just don't chance it, because 2 runs is not good. I'd rather risk with Jerkson or Cronenworth or whatever. And if they beat you, then they beat you. And that's the other thing too, is this is why it's so important when pitching and hitting come together, is you cannot pitch an entire game around people. You have to throw it down the pipe. Now, if you've got your pitches down to where they're confused on what's coming, sure, you're going to have a good game. But the point is, you have to risk. And the risk is always better when you're confident. Just like when you go gambling, when you're playing blackjack or you're playing poker. When you're confident, you ever notice you win more? It's the same thing here. You're gonna pitch because you got a 3-run lead to Lindor, to Manny, to whomever, and you're gonna be like, all right, I'm gonna give you this pitch. Let's see what you can do with it. And then you're gonna pitch better. You're gonna throw better too. The splitter's gonna be better. The curve is gonna curve better. It's all about the confidence. There is no reason other than 100% full confidence that Jack had the game tonight the way he did. You can tell me about his mom in the stands. You can tell me about the comet in the sky. You could tell me about, it's his birthday. It didn't matter. What happened was he went in there, got 3 outs, and then his boys said, that's all we needed. We're going to go get you 2 runs now, then you're going to run game. And that's what Yamamoto did. They took care of him too. Not as much as we wanted to, but in the end, the bullpen took care of him a little bit too.
They did. Yeah. I mean, the 2 bombs, like I said, no home runs today. I think every one of them is kind of different, right? I think the Padres were obviously the best team that they were going to face on the way to the World Series. Oddly enough, because the Mets have been on this magic run, right? I think they're dangerous, but I don't think the Mets are a better baseball team than San Diego, Cleveland, or the Yankees. Doesn't mean they can't beat someone, because they have, right? They knocked out the number 2 seed. They did what they did since June 1st, as they repeated multiple times today. They have these big moments, and the Dodgers never even gave them a chance to even sniff a comeback in this one, right? They took that away from them. They're known as these comeback guys. And eventually, when you start getting down early to all these teams with dominant bullpens, you're going to run out of that magic if that's your approach, right? So while the Mets have been on this run, they are scary. They are capable. Lindor is incredible. These guys have been just incredible over the last few months. I do believe that they're the least overall talented team left in the playoffs. They just got the magic on their side. So I think whoever the Dodgers face in the World Series, whether it's the Yankees or Guardians, will be tougher than what they're facing right now. But they just had the toughest competition the last series. So my thing is like, that's why I want to get him out the way, put him to bed, because I think the Yankees are still very good. I think Cleveland is a team that no one really talks about, but they are very good. And the Dodgers have to continue to not lose pitchers. Hopefully they would get Vesia back in the next round. But that's why I want this series put to bed early, to not mess around with anything, not have guys taxed more, not risk another injury, and just get it out of there. And if you can knock out the most balanced team in baseball, followed by the hottest team in baseball, the team coming in with all the magic, then you go and you face the best, whoever comes out the American League. I still have us as the favorite there. But do you agree with you? Do you think that the next round, the talent is better than what we're facing in this series, not the Padres series? I think we just faced the best team we'll see all playoffs last round. But I do believe that whoever we face next, if we get there, is going to be a pretty decent separation between them and the Mets that we're playing right now, talent-wise.
Absolutely. You got better pitching from Cleveland and New York. And then when you look at New York's lineup, especially with Giancarlo Stanton being a playoff performer, and then you have Aaron Judge, you have to say that these guys are worthy. Cleveland is scrappy. I would say they're similar to the Mets without the crazy heroics, but they're scrappy. Mets and the Cleveland, I don't call them the Guardians.
I still struggle with that too.
Major league. We would have had a total major league situation here if they wouldn't have screwed up the nickname. But Cleveland is in a lot of ways a small ball type team where they're scrappy and they're committed and they've got place and they've got something there that they could take to the World Series. You would say that if the pitchers health wise, I think the only thing that could probably stop the Dodgers is if things really fall apart health wise. I mean, they already have. I'm just saying even more. Yeah. And my thoughts, if you want to put guys like Freeman, guys like Teo, guys like Ohtani in Yankee Stadium in that Little League Park, that's a big part of kind of why I'm pretty confident in a Yankee Dodger World Series, is I believe that Yankee Stadium is going to be the perfect park for the boys, especially on the hitting side. Garrett Cole being the ace, he's pitching really well right now. He's likely the best pitcher left in terms of an ace, a starter. However, we saw what happened to Detroit yesterday.
Skubal, man. Yeah.
Yeah, Skubal, this is a Triple Crown guy, and he all that work, and this is why baseball is so just heartbreaking. All that work he did all year to be in that moment, and that ended up being the loss. Otherwise, they would have won. Likely probably would have won. And it came from your ace, because everyone's sitting there going, "Oh, this is a good thing for the Yankees because now that Scoot can't pitch for Game 1." And I'm like, that's true. Well, he couldn't pitch Game 5 either, so, or at least he couldn't seal it. And that's how it is. That's how it is. That's why everything has to work. That's why everything has to work. And to correlate this run to 2020, we saw what Julio Urias did towards the end of these big games. When he got in at like the 7th inning and performed the way he did, the game was over then. And that's the feeling I'm starting to get now. There's this spot in the 6th or 7th inning where something clicks in my aura, where I'm like, this game's over. I go, these guys are done. All that face the batter 3 times BS is gone. They're done. And this could not have gone worse for the Mets for preparation for later. Number one, the Dodgers didn't use anyone. They had Hudson in there and what's his name?
Kasparius.
They didn't have anybody pitch at all from the bullpen. It was like brought 2 guys that hardly ever pitch. Hudson pitches, but you know what I mean. And you might as well have had a complete game by Jack. Yep. It was a complete game. You didn't use Trident. You didn't use
Phillips, Kopech,
Phillips, no one. So
and Hudson struggled, and he still got out of it.
Hudson always worries me. But
yeah, me too. Me too.
Lately, he gets into that. I was talking to some people while like, what is it with Hudson and always not letting us have a shutout? He got out of it, of course, but
Yeah.
I always remembered him this year where they'd have a shutout and you'd allow a run. I'm like, God dang it. I know it doesn't matter. We're going to win the game. But I was like, man, I really want to get this thing going. I want to see if we can pitch tomorrow and have it be scoreless so we can break the record. But anyways, everything is clicking. And there's a lot to do. There's a lot left. But I'm feeling really good.
I am too. And to be honest with you, I think not only could the Dodgers be on the path towards a dynasty here, I also think we have a situation here. If the Yankees can keep Soto, and I think there's a good chance they do, I think there's a chance that this Dodger-Yankees rivalry can be something for the next 3-4 years. I really believe so. I think that the Padres, the more I look at that roster, the money, they're going to be adjusting that team on the fly so many times. When you look at, you got Arise going into the final year of arbitration. He's going to be a free agent. Do they trade him like they did Soto because they're not going to pay him? Musgrove's all out all next year. They're going to lose Tanner Scott. That contract for Darvish and Manny is not going to age well. There's a lot of things that they've got to do. This is a very good baseball team. They could ride it out next year, but this isn't a 3-4 year baseball team as currently constructed. The Yankees have a chance to be right there with us over the next 3-4 years. And as teams come, like, what does Atlanta look like when they get healthy again? Right. So this Dodgers Yankee thing has a chance to be special. And why I think the difference in this is Shohei, especially when he's pitching. I think we have the best player in the world. And I think that that's going to be an added thing there, but the Yankees are going to be right along this ride with us. And I love that. I think that's what the sport needs. But unless the Mets somehow, because of this run, and they just crazy offer more money to Soto. If I'm Soto, I don't leave the Yankees for the Mets for a difference of $50 million, right? He'll get that money back. But if he stays in New York, we could be looking at potentially 3-4 years of this, which would be great, Joe. This would be absolutely great.
Baseball needs this.
Yes.
You can argue that Aaron Judge is the second best player in the majors.
Yep.
I go back and forth on it. This year, I guess you don't really have to. You could say he's number 2.
They're just the best in each league. Like, I think is the best way to look at it.
So, I mean, this is so hard for baseball. You had Ohtani playing, 7 years in Anaheim for nothing.
Yep.
You got one playoff run, in 2014 with your modern day Mickey Mantle. And baseball, and I don't know if Rob Manfred, I can't gauge him. He's like
he's weird, man.
I always look at him and he's like he's an accountant in charge of sports. I always look at him that way. I don't know if he even cares. But let's say he does. Yankees versus Dodgers, the number 1, the number 2 player in the majors, both MVPs this year. Man, you'd have to manipulate this for this to happen.
Yeah.
You got to get this going. And the only difference is between this potential rivalry, should it happen, is this time I want the Dodgers to win a lot of them more. I mean, we want the Dodgers to run the table here. Too many losses to the Yankees back in the 40s, the 50s. I can't handle any more losses in the World Series. It's killing me.
No, we need to go on a run of winning them. We need to go on a run of of getting these franchises back, taking some back from them. Like, we need to keep the Yankees at 27 for a while. And I mean, if it's not the Yankees playing the Dodgers, I like watching the Yankees, right? I can call myself a Yankee fan, right? I'm a diehard Dodger fan, but if I'm out watching the Dodgers, I watch a lot of Yankee games, So if the Yankees aren't playing the Dodgers, I'm pulling from them. But we're going in a weird path here where we're going to be in each other's way now. So I have to put that on hold for a bit. But the Yankees, I think when they're great, it's great for baseball. I think when the Dodgers are great, it's great for baseball. I think when you have Like, I wish Boston was good enough, because if you had a true Yankees-Boston rivalry, a true Dodgers-Giants rivalry, the Dodgers-Padres are trying to make it something, but I just don't believe the Padres are going to stay like that, right? But the Yankee, if you get all these guys up again, these teams back, and that rivalry comes back, this just makes this all the better, especially if it just keeps being the Yankees and Dodgers slugging it out. But on the way, the Yankees have to battle Boston, and Boston's legit, and the Dodgers and Giants, and it just makes this whole thing bigger. And again, I don't want to get too ahead, because we do got to win it this year. But Joe, I just think we're going to. I really think we're going to.
The seeding was kind of, I don't know why they locked it in like they do with the NBA. They should have reshuffled it. The Padres were 4. They should have, 3-4 should have played. I don't know. I'm sorry. I meant the Mets should have played the Dodgers as the one.
Yeah. It should have been the bottom seed versus the top seed. Yeah.
I don't know if they had done that, then you would have. And this is the thing that bothers me about Rob Manfred is that's an easy thing to figure out. Why would you do this? And that's most people think he doesn't care. He probably doesn't. I know San Diego doesn't have a lot of prestige, but they do, Jeff. They do. They are right now, and the Dodgers, the best rivalry in baseball. They've taken over the Red Sox-Yankees rivalry, because the Red Sox have been.
Yeah, because the Red Sox aren't relevant.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, if the Red Sox become relevant,
nor the Giants.
And the Giants, that's a whole different story. I mean, they just hired Buster Posey, which I don't know why that. It sounds like a PR move. Mm-hmm. What's he going to do if he's strapped? That's the problem in San Francisco, is they strap their people. Fareed didn't stink all of a sudden. You're not letting them go. You're not getting anybody. You're not spending any money. You're just sitting there. And that, owner Larry is just, I could tell you stories about him and Barry and my boy who hangs out with all of them. I mean, it's not good. Let's just put it down.
Yeah.
I'm not going to talk about it. But point is, Giants have to start spending money and really, really focusing on roster construction instead of trying to make money. That's all that's going on over there. San Diego is not a big market, yet they're spending all this money.
They're acting like one.
And then they're acting like one. And sometimes that's what you got to do. Are you here to make money? Okay, how much more money can you make? You're already rich. Why don't you win too? Tom Brady did it. Tom Brady took less money every year so he can somehow field a team. And it worked. But Giants don't want to do it. I don't know what's going on in Boston. I don't know how those guys aren't competitive.
Yeah. They've just missed on so many signings and players. And
I'm still wondering why they traded Mookie Betts.
That's why. So because they had so many bad contracts, they traded Mookie. They basically traded Mookie to get off of David Price's contract. And because they couldn't get him to commit to a long-term deal, he wasn't opposed to staying there. They just hadn't agreed to terms. They panicked, and the Dodgers have used the Red Sox have used the Dodgers twice to clean their books, right? So the Dodgers basically did the same thing they did to get Adrian Gonzalez. It's the same thing they did to get Mookie Betts. They were willing to take on Beckett's money and Crawford's money just to get Adrian Gonzalez. And so when they did Mookie, like, we will take on David Price's money and the risk of losing Mookie in free agency just to get that money off your books. Ended up Mookie signed his extension before he ever played a game with the Dodgers, and the rest is history, right? The Dodgers would do that deal 10 times out of 10. But because they have these bad deals, they went and they had to do things to get out from under them, and they were trying to reboot. But their reboots just go terribly. And instead of trading someone like Xander Bogaerts before he becomes a free agent, they just have had terrible business moves. And with the Giants, it really is, players don't want to go there. Players don't want to live in the city of San Francisco after everything that's going on. LA catches a lot of hell, but the Bay Area, no player wants to go there. The rumors were that they offered similar money to Yamamoto, that they offered similar money to Shohei, that they were in on talks with Teoscar Hernandez for similar money. They got turned down by all of them. And Chapman took the money, and basically all Posey did was step in at the end. Farhan negotiated that deal to about the 5-yard line. It didn't get completed, but the Giants ownership brought in Posey to get it across the goal line just to attach his name to it. So they sandbagged Farhan there, right? The agent came out and said, like, this was already pretty much done with Farhan. We got to about 95% of it. So you're right. I think what they're doing is because no one wanted to sign there. So they're bringing in a guy thinking that that's going to change it, but it's really the living situation. These baseball guys don't want to move their families to the Bay. The Bay's a beautiful city, but it's gone downhill tremendously. I'm up there, often for work, and it is bad up there. Like, just do yourself a favor, look on the internet about leaving your windows up or down in the Bay Area on your car. Just check that out. It's crazy what's going on up there. And players don't want to go there. And that's the problem. Firing someone like Farhan wasn't really going to do anything about that. So, to stake your claim on someone like Chapman, like Matt Chapman's the guy that's the big move that is the cosign to get Posey up there because he got him to do the extension, So Boston and San Francisco, teams from bigger markets who had ownership, who would spend and would typically lead to winning. They essentially had a version of a dynasty themselves within the last 20 years each. And now they just don't have it anymore. And so maybe a team like the Padres, who I don't know what their new ownership situation is going to be. They don't have a TV deal. They couldn't make payroll. You have Cohen out there in with the Mets, who has the biggest blank check of anyone, but didn't have a really good front office. Now they kind of got that right. Things are kind of turning around, but our guy's going to go there. Like if the Yankees offer someone $300 million and the Mets offer someone $260, I still think guys are taking the Yankee deal. You know what I mean? So that's why I think the Dodgers and Yankees are pretty much going to be aligned, because the way they go about business and the way they start chase. And that's why it's going to be. But San Francisco and Boston, I don't know if they're going to get their stuff together in the next 5-7 years at all.
I don't think the league needs Boston or the San Francisco Giants. I think the league needs San Diego versus LA, and they need LA versus Yankees.
Yeah.
That's enough. If you get some, I don't know who would be the AL.
I think they need Boston for the rivalry with New York. I do think that's important. I think that's important.
It is. But in certain cases, when you look at the personalities of the Dodgers and let's say the Padres, I think people are more in tune with that kind of rivalry now. However, let's roll with what you're saying, 100%. If Boston can start mattering, an ALCS, NLCS, Yankee, Boston, San Diego, LA, yearly or bi-yearly event would be nice. But see, that doesn't work like that in baseball. We've been spoiled. I gotta admit, we've been spoiled with the Dodgers. They're always there. The Yankees, except for last year, are always there, but they hadn't been able to get through because of Houston, right? And then everything else is mixed in with Atlanta here, Houston here. This year was the Royals, Tigers all of a sudden came out of nowhere. Mets now came out of nowhere. There's always going to be that element, which again takes me back to what's going to help this league. We just discussed it. That's why I want the 7 games in the NLDS, and I only want 4 teams making the playoffs in each league. Because now you make the regular season matter, and you're more likely going to get the teams that you want in there, the teams that are going to be successful. You know how I know? What happened during the early 2000s? It was always Yankees and Red Sox. Yankees and Red Sox. Because you had one wild card set up, and then you had the division. I'm sorry, the championship, the LCS. Sorry, the League Championship Series. It was simple. Now you got this. You got to get into here, and then you got to do a 3-game thing here. Then you got to go over there and do 5, and then you got to go. Then you go to the ALCS and the NLCS. I'm like, dude. I mean, is it really that exciting? I don't know. Is it? Maybe it's just me. It's not about, I like the old way better. No, I loved the new way. How about merge both? Just make the NLDS
one league, yeah.
And then you have a regular season that matters, and then you have 3 division winners and 1 wild card. If a wild card goes all the way through 4 guys, okay, that's fine. Now you have like 3. You have 3 that win 89 games, like the Mets, and now all of a sudden they're on this run. I don't know. I don't like it. I never have. And how often does those teams win it all anyways? You said it yourself. What was that? I remember 07. Colorado went on a run. They got bounced in the World Series. Who was the other one? Recently.
Arizona last year, they did go to game
Arizona
7.
last year.
They did go to game 7, but they lost.
Yeah. I mean, I guess that's a different one, but
yeah. But there's been who was the team that they went out the Cardinals, remember the 2004 when Boston came back from 3-0. Everyone in the world knew that St. Louis was just cooked. They were going to get swept, and they did. Like so, there was. I feel like we're missing one. The Royals before they won it. No, they were pretty good. I'm not thinking of them. There was a team that got there.
Tampa. Oh wait,
there it is. Yeah. Okay, there it is. Yeah.
Tampa, and that would have been the World Series we'd have won if Boston didn't blow it.
Yeah,
that one killed me because that one killed me so much. Manny Ramirez. I don't remember, and I don't think I've ever felt a one guy up until Shohei came, where one guy could absolutely take one team into the stratosphere. That was the craziest run I'd ever seen at that point. Up until, of course, the 88 World Series growing up watching that, but I wasn't invested in it through the regular season as much as I was.
Yeah. I was too young for 88.
But I remember I remember 88 vividly. Like that was the first year I was a Dodger fan. I remember everything. It's just that you lived in a time then where you couldn't watch the Dodgers every day.
You couldn't.
I lived in the Central Valley in that small.
We couldn't watch it every day here in LA. Like it wasn't. They had like Prime ticket. There was something else, but they only had like 25 games a year. That's why I got so accustomed to listening to them on the radio, right? I still do. Like I like listening to baseball on the radio. And that's we talked about it the last game. I was gonna do like my Jerry West thing. I like in game 4, I actually got in the car and drove around for a bit, listened on the radio. Like I was like, I was so nervous, for that series. But we couldn't watch them as much as we have everything now. We can watch every pitch, every at bat, every game. As long as we have time, right? We can watch it all.
It was
we got this Noir on. Okay, there we go. I think Search took care of him. This guy was losing his mind here. Good God.
Where? I didn't see it.
It's gone now. It's gone. But he was.
Was he just talking smack?
Yeah. I don't know what is. He's clearly got bigger issues than us. But oh my God. Anyway, I was like, wait. Like not just the people like that come in and like you ever met someone that like comes in and like you could tell like they're trying to be polite, but like
they're about to drop the bomb.
It's about to, and then it just goes and then it just keeps going. And it's like, why are you even here, bro? Like, why are you here? If you're just coming in like that, why are you here? But anyways, it was kind of funny, some of it, but Search already mopped them up, so we're good.
Search
it was just funny.
Destroyed.
Search destroyed. Yeah, I was like, some of these guys, man. Oh man, it builds. It starts going, and then I was like, oh, okay, here we go. So you try to tune it out so it doesn't.
They always start out with "Hi, how are you?" or something like that, and you're like, oh shoot.
Or they have a soft disagree, and then it's like less soft. And then
I don't know. We haven't had a lot lately. I had a few discussions. I'm like, what are you doing? What's going on with your life?
Yeah. No, this guy's been.
And they always have to drop the N-bomb. Like, what is it with you? We're talking about flowers and you hate us, and then you got to drop the N-bomb out of nowhere. Like, what is?
No, some of them just come in hot, man, and it's not even us. They're just looking for it, right? And I typically don't give it to them. Like, it's not what we do here. Obviously, you're barking up the wrong tree if you're looking for that. But outside of that, during this show, I don't want to put the chat through that, man. So let me get to a couple of these chats real quick because I'm haven't really. So we've got a good pack of Yankee fans in here, which is good. I like that. And what they're basically saying, and it's AOG right here. He's basically saying, I think he's right. Like I feel like if you listen to a Yankee channel and you listen to a Dodger channel, you're probably hearing a lot of the same stuff, right? Because on their side, they're feeling, okay, this is it. Now we go face the Dodgers. We got Judge. We got Cole. We got this. they're feeling pretty good about themselves because Houston's not there, right? Who's been preventing them from getting in, and their mindset is let's get through Cleveland, and then we'll deal with the Dodgers when we get there. But I think the Yankees and Yankees fans, and maybe rightfully so, I think that they're feeling good about this going into this, right? To this matchup. And that's what I think why it has to happen is because you have two teams who feel they are the best team in the league. The Yankees have a certified ace. They have Aaron Judge. One thing about the Yankees, which I will caution Yankees fans about, there is a lot of swing and miss in that lineup. A lot of it. And so, like I said, and that bullpen is so at the end of the day, I think you got special in Judge, you got special in Cole, you got special in Soto. Stanton can hit the ball out of a park at a moment's notice, but he can also break the record for World Series and strikeouts. So I think it's kind of cool how both fan bases are literally, neither one of them are afraid of each other. They both feel that they're the team and we're just in each other's way. I just want to get there. Like ASAP. So Mets, just hurry up and Cleveland. However, man, I will also caution the New York fans need to be cautious about Cleveland. I'm telling you, like, they are no joke. They're not a pushover. But I think the Yankees get them. But if they slip up there, Cleveland can sneak up on them, man. They really can. No one's talking about them at all postseason. And they're here. They're right there where the Yankees are.
That's usually dangerous. Just like 80% of the baseball experts pick the Padres to beat the Dodgers.
Yep.
I think that's an explained reason on why the Dodgers finally turned the corner there is they got so tired of being called chumps when they're the number one team, right, for the year. And maybe sometimes the media types did that to get them out of their funk. I don't know. Probably not. But I remember thinking about that. I'm like, man, everybody's picking the Padres. Okay.
They just rode the wave.
And guys, we're fans. I can sit here and say the Dodgers are going to win the World Series. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
Nothing. I don't have anything in it physically. I have it as a fan. Me, one out of a 300 billion people in the world, or 7 billion or 8 billion. What? Okay, Dodgers are going to win. What? Now what? I can do whatever I want. Nothing's going to change whether I say it or not. I'm basing the discussion, though, off of what I'm watching. I've watched this team, this specific team of the Roberts, Muncy, Kershaw, Kike, like this team.
This era of them.
This era. I've seen them play like this before in 2017. And you brought up a great point. I was going to bring it up, but you brought it up because you know your stuff. Should both the Yankees and Dodgers get to the World Series, the Dodgers are the worst team that the Yankees can play in a series like that because they're a swing and miss team.
Mm-hmm.
Swing and miss against this team, guys. This bullpen. You do not want to miss. And if you start getting Jack throwing stuff and Yamamoto, that's going to be a short series. Because those guys from you could say 1 to 9, they can jack it out of Yankee Stadium for 3 games or 2 games or whatever it is. They can jack it quick. That's the problem playing in a park like that when the other team has the ability to hit it out, and the Dodgers have a guy that can hit it out pretty much 8 out of 9. Edman's the only guy that doesn't really, he's not really a threat there more often than not.
He's got more power than people think. He's not up there looking for that. He's not up there looking for it.
But you have 8 out of the 9, and you have a couple guys on the bench that could take it out. Guys like Pajes or even Chris Taylor if he can get contact.
Pajes is going to get a home run in these playoffs. It's going to happen.
If he has the right scenario where he's got a lefty coming at him, yeah, I believe he will. I believe you. I definitely believe you there. I don't know when though. I'm just happy right now. I tonight was as good of a Sunday night as you can have. The Steelers won. The Dodgers just dominated, and I am going to just say that I'm not being given any reason to think that the Dodgers aren't going to win tomorrow either.
I think they're gonna too. I think they get this in 5, and I would not surprise if they get it in 4. That's not me being arrogant. That's not me being anything. I personally feel that of the 4 teams left, the Mets are the least talented of the 4. They are gritty. They are relentless. They deserve all the respect that they should get. They were like 11 games back of Atlanta, Joe, I think in May, end of May. And they deserve all the flowers and all the credit for the way they've turned their season around. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But I saw Passan's tweet basically talking about how the Dodgers are doing this with essentially an entire rotation on the injured list. When he lists all the names, and it's we sit here and we talk about the Mets being the magical team. The reality is, Joe, it's starting to make more sense and be clear that the Dodgers are the magical team, because all these injuries, all these setbacks, all these issues, for all of a sudden Yamamoto and Flaherty to have the back-to-back games that they just had, for the bullpen to have the games and the innings that they've had, for the bats to come alive, for Doc to have the series and this coach and this postseason that he has had. I think the reality is the Dodgers are the magical team. And the Mets are a great story. But to be the magical team, that magic has to go all the way. And I don't think anyone is sitting here thinking that Mets magic is going to go all the way. It's gotten them here. But I think the Dodgers are going to end up, in the end, being the team that had the magic, because the magic of surviving that injured list and everything that went wrong in that Padres series, and just 33 innings and counting, Joe, like that what's more magic than that? Like, what is more magic than that? And
it's when they do, if the Dodgers should win it all, the yearbook documentary is going to bring up a lot of things from this year. You're going to see a lot about how they didn't play with Mookie for six weeks when he was neck and neck for the MVP with Ohtani.
mm-hmm.
They're obviously going to see little Max Freeman on what Freddie had to work deal with that.
Mm-hmm. Multiple things this year.
Could have been a tragic thing. His finger, now his ankle. Then you deal with Glasnow. Glasnow getting injured was a blow. I'm not gonna lie. When I heard he wasn't gonna pitch, I was like, oh shit.
That one was a gut punch. That one felt. And then they lost those 2 games ugly in Atlanta after the news came out, right?
Yeah, it was, and you could tell they were hurt by it. Then something happened there, and that's another thing. That's another area you can go to where something clicked after those games. Are like
the Bueller game. The Bueller game.
Yes, and Bueller's another story.
Mm-hmm.
What if Bueller comes in? Did Doc confirm if it's
bullpen tomorrow? It's going to be
bullpen tomorrow. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So now imagine this. Imagine the Dodgers win a close one tomorrow, and then they go to New York and Bueller pitches 6 innings of 1-run baseball. Now you have that story of Bueller and his 2 Tommy Johns and what he has had to go through. Everybody seems to have that what everybody loves, that up and comer type thing.
That's our bloody sock.
Yes, the bloody sock, the adversity. I hate that crap. But if it means that you're going to win the World Series, by all means, go ahead and roll with it.
For those who are old enough to remember After School Specials, Joseph Sora never watched those. Never.
Okay, I did watch some of the HBO ones because I know.
I'm just kidding. No.
It's okay. It's okay. I bring it on to myself. I don't get it because it's to me. You've heard me say this. I want dominance.
Yeah.
I like dominance. I like greatness. And yes, even greatness deals with adversity. You look at Michael Jordan in Game 6 of the finals and how Pippen was hurt, and he ended up dropping 40 and winning the game and stealing the ball from Malone, hitting the last second shot, and then before then it was whatever. I'm not saying we don't want that every now and then to kind of get us entertained and get the juices flowing, but more often than not, I want things to mean something. I don't want teams to win 111 games and they get bounced out in the first round because it's a series.
Annoying, man. God.
It's a stupid freaking thing. You're sitting there, you're talking about ratings and money. You have how many teams right now that just got dropped from Diamond that they're not going to show their games? This is why. This is why you're not showcasing. You didn't showcase your number one player for 12 years. Mike Trout is nowhere.
Nope. He's in the witness protection program.
This is not. I know I didn't see Mickey Mantle play, but I've seen enough information. This was our Mickey Mantle, and he was in some shithole in Anaheim. That should have been figured out, but you got to care as a commissioner. He doesn't.
No.
And that's the one thing I will give credit to Goodell, as much as I want to, pierce my own jugular by saying that, is he cares so much he overdoes it, but it works. So Manfred, take a chapter out of the reason why I don't like Goodell is because he's a lying piece of shit. Just say you don't give a fuck about health. Like every time, player health. Oh, by the way, we want another game. By the way, we want another game after that. Oh, another playoff game too. These guys are not lasting after 5-6 games. So anyways, Manfred, fix this playoff thing so you can showcase Ohtani. I mean, the Dodgers are doing that for you anyways. You probably don't have to worry about that. But can you want to create the Boston thing and the San Francisco thing and the San Diego? They're not going to be on TV next year. I'm sure they will be, but they got to go deal with that. This has to be figured out. So these things all kind of play into the whole. We want greatness. We want the great series. There was a time where we did see it. We did see those series a lot in the 2000s, and it kind of went away a little bit. But we'll have to monitor it as we go.
Yeah, those great matchups and like really great matchups in that era. I feel like we get great games, and I feel like I said, the whole wild card round and all this stuff. I think some of the matchups kind of like the Mets Phillies didn't really feel like a great matchup. The number 2 seed got knocked out, and no one was really surprised, right? I don't think anyone had a lot of confidence in Philly. The great matchup was the Padre Dodger series, right? Cleveland and Detroit did go 5 games. I had Detroit winning that series, even though I've been the guy saying don't count out Cleveland. That was a good series. The Yankees, I thought that was going to be a better series with the Royals. The Royals kind of caved there. They don't seem, appear to be ready. We had a good wild card round one with the Mets and Milwaukee, right? But unless I'm wrong, I just don't foresee this series here being a good one. I just feel if it's a good series, then the Dodgers are in trouble, right? I think it's going in a direction that none of us want. But like I said, I have them in 5, but I would not be surprised if they sweep them. And while I said don't sleep on Cleveland, I still think the Yankees get them in 6, maybe 5 if they get the first 2. Like you said, they dominate game 1 and game 2, head to Cleveland 2-0. Cleveland's in trouble. And I think at that point we're just on the fast track to the matchup that we all want. And if we get, I don't know how long the streak is going to continue, Joe. I have no idea. But if this bullpen goes out tomorrow and shuts them down again, and then we're just to a point where it's like, who's going to hit them? Like, who's going to hit them? Because if they go and add another 9 innings to this, Joe, if they come out of this and we're sitting at 42 innings of scoreless baseball, I don't even know how to explain that. So it's if that happens going into New York with a day off and a starting pitcher coming in, then it's almost getting to the point where it's like, okay, and especially if the bats are going, let's say they give up none and the Dodgers score 6. Then you feel even better about going in with the Walker Buehler because he's probably not going to shut someone out, right? Now, that game in San Diego was not his fault. He wasn't striking people out, but he was going to give up runs, but not to the point of what he did. He's probably going to give up a run. So outside of that, if the Dodgers are scoring 4 or 5 runs a game with this bullpen, the way it's going, they're going to win all these games. I thought there's no way the Dodgers will score less than 6. But in a Buehler game, if they score 4 runs, I've come down on that now from 6 to 4. If Buehler goes down and holds them 3 or less, we're going to win that game more than likely. And if you would have asked me 2 weeks ago, we're sitting here counting. I felt it was going to have to be our bats and our pin to get us through our starting pitching. And the first 2 games of the Padres series kind of held form to that. But ever since then, it's been every box has been checked. And this team currently right now doesn't have a weakness until it presents itself. So if they shut him out again tomorrow, Joe, then I have no damn clue what to talk about next, because this isn't the baseball I know. Like, this is not, I have no idea. This has never been done before.
Yeah, the Dodgers have all these issues with the pitching staff, yet the last 2 starters played like aces.
Mm-hmm.
I don't give a damn what happened in August, July, April, or spring training. The last 2 games, and these were high pressure games, winning game 1, winning a game 5. You had essentially 2 aces do their job. I mean, Yamamoto was dealing.
Yeah.
Jack.
Buehler wasn't terrible in game 3.
No, he wasn't. The only thing that killed Buehler, and this is the thing, this is the good and the bad of him. He's butane for a reason. He's hot, but I like angry pitchers. I like angry pitchers because they don't get scared. And what happened in that game is something that happened because, unfortunately, it's just a perfect situation for the Padres in those moments. One, you had the ball bounce to Freddie, and you had Manny make a play that there isn't a human being on the earth would have predicted that, getting in the way of the ball, right? And then you had Rojas, who was working on one leg or half a lower half. If he doesn't have that issue, he just pitches it to Kike and it's a double play.
Yep. So it's 2 bots double
play.
play.
If you're going to tell me that is what kept you from winning, and then you won the thing anyways, okay, well, that means if we hadn't had that happen, this thing would have been done earlier, just like we talked. And that's it. But you can't let that affect you either. I am pretty comfortable in saying that I don't believe the Dodgers are going to pitch another shutout tomorrow. I believe they're going to allow a few runs. But the thing is, are they going to? Can the Mets stop the Dodgers?
Yeah,
7-4. Give me 7-4. I don't care about this record. I really don't. I would love another shutout. I'd love another shutout for another 7 games. Absolutely. But if the Dodgers keep hitting the way they're hitting, it's not really going to matter if the starters really pitch well anyways, because Doc's got the guys to switch it out right away. Here's the thing. Here's an answer to your pitching question. I don't see the Dodgers getting blown out the rest of the way, unless it's like 3-0 and they get blown out somewhere because it's 3-0. They just like, we'll
but then they pull people that they're done. Yeah. So
right. I just don't see it. They're too focused. You're listening to Mookie Betts talk. I'm looking at Doc manage, not just managing above what he's ever managed in my viewing of Roberts. He's managing like Walter Austin in 55. And I only know this from reading. I'm not talking about what I wasn't alive by back then. Okay. Or if I wanted to correlate it to something that I would know, the way Pop coached in 2014 for the Spurs, or the way that Phil Jackson coached in 2009 for the Lakers after getting beat by Boston the year before. You're seeing Roberts blossom in this environment. And he was at the edge. He was at the edge of the plank here. If he had lost to San Diego, he would have been bounced. It was confirmed today when they talked about it on air. I had not heard. I had seen articles, and my instincts, being in and around that world, anyways. I've done a little TV, a little bit. I go, why did this article come out in August? I've never seen an article like this about Robert Stein staying, the whole way. Somebody leaked it. I don't know who. Maybe somebody close. Maybe not. My interpretation, again, it might not. None of that might have happened, but it was weird. Like, why would that come out? Well, we got confirmation today that stuff was real. If he had lost, we'd be talking right now about how who's going to be the new manager for the Dodgers. So Doc has done a 180, and he's 7 wins away from stamping his Dodger career for the next decade with Ohtani, with Friedman. And then at this point, the relief that's going to come. And even, let's just say this, let's be drastic, and it's probably not going to happen. Even if the Dodgers don't make the playoffs next year, I'm going to be cool with it. It's going to happen, but
yeah.
They got it. They enjoyed it. Okay, let's go back now.
We got our parade. Damn it.
Right.
Got our damn parade.
We got the parade, even though, by the way, just from experience, I've gone to 2 parades, and
I've had some good parades and bad parades myself.
People in LA, folks, I love parts of LA. The more and more I live, it's lessening though because of the people who are running the town. But of course, I love the Dodgers. I love the Lakers forever.
Am I pushing here? Sorry.
It's okay. But the LA does not have smart thinking people. There's a lot of just gutter trash there, and they usually show up at the parades, smoking weed in front of children and cursing, throwing bottles. When I was at the 2001 parade for the Lakers, Lawrence Tanter had to get on the PA and yell at everyone to stop throwing bottles. It was embarrassing. And
yeah, they've had some. There's a lot of good people that go to the parades, but just like the fans at Dodger Stadium that kind of get out of hand. The difference with the parade is, and again, I've been to just about all of them, and for the most part, it's a good time. Where you're at and what time of day and all this stuff you go at, what section is. The thing is the difference between guys doing it at Dodger Stadium versus doing it at a parade is it can escalate a lot quicker as a parade. The security is much thinner, right? It's LAPD out there running around, and it escalates quickly. And yeah, there's a lot of, let's just say, extracurricular activities out there. There's a lot of different things. There are good parts of it, but there are in a parade. It doesn't take a lot of bad people to start to create a nightmare because it spreads like a wildfire, and then it leads to danger like a riot. And the cops get in there, they're turning over cars, fires are started. It happened almost every parade, right? So yeah, there are definitely challenges, with that parade. I still go. I still have a good time. I typically get closer to the I haven't gone to a Dodger parade, so I really can't speak on it because in 2020 we didn't get one, and I, obviously didn't in '88. But the Laker ones, I realized that the closer I got to Staples at the time, the better it was. The further on the outskirts and along the paths and all that stuff and out away from it is when things would get a little crazier. So yeah, it is definitely can get troublesome out there for sure. For sure. But I still want it. Like I still want a parade. Like,
well, I've never been to a Dodger parade, so maybe
me neither. And the parade just is, it doesn't make it any more official, but it just feels like the stamp on it, right? Like it just gets all put together, and then you move on to the next season. Once the parade is done. But we got to get it though, Joe. We got to get it. They got to win it. They got to finish this series, and more than likely gonna have to beat the city of New York twice. They got to beat Queens and they got to beat the Bronx, and then bring that thing home to LA.
This run would play out so perfect if that's the scenario. Either way, I don't care as long as it's a win. But it's not a sexy LA versus Cleveland.
No, God, no. No, I don't want that. I think the Yankees are going to beat them. I think the Yankees are the better team there.
I honestly don't know, Jeff. I don't know. It's likely, but I actually have not gotten a pulse on it. As much as I know the teams and how they perform, the thing is with Judge is, and I know Stanton is kind of picking up some things here, and I know Judge had a good game in the last one, but I don't trust strikeout.
Yeah.
Hitters, I don't trust them.
I just look at this 7-game series. There's potential for Cole to go twice. I think that separates it, and I think Judge is good enough to get through this series. And then, like I said, I just think these two are on a collision course. I felt that way since before the season started, and it just continues to line up to be that. And we both got to finish business first. We got to take care of the Mets. They got to take care of Cleveland, and hopefully the baseball world and us and everyone gets exactly what they want, which is New York, LA, back to back from a Dodger perspective, and then to go ahead and get this World Series. But let me before we finish this up tonight, let me ask you, tomorrow bullpen game, Walker Buehler game, probably game 3. Joe, the more I'm talking about this, I'm starting to feel like maybe we go 3-0. I don't. And then you got Yamamoto game 4. I've been trying to talk myself out of a sweep, Joe, but I think if the bullpen brings it tomorrow, which we have no reason to think they won't, the only wild card in this stretch here is the Buehler game. So let me ask you this: I think we're winning tomorrow. I think we got it. I think we're winning tomorrow. If they find a way to go up 3-0, do you think they sweep, or you still think it goes 5?
Oh, no doubt. I don't think there's a doubt. I think Mets will be tapped out.
Yeah, me too. Okay. So
the question is, do you throw, let's say the Yankees or the Indians, the Guardians are about to sweep too. Do you use Yamamoto in game 4?
That's an excellent point. If you're up 3-0, you want to kind of put it to bed. You'd almost have no choice, because who else do you have?
I mean, I guess flat Jack starts game 1 in the World Series, I guess.
Yeah. So I mean, you can, because what today? So today's what? Sunday. You have Monday's game, and then you're off Tuesday, and then it's Wednesday, Thursday. That's technically the 5th day. It's probably Yamamoto. And if it get to that, it's going to be the same schedule, because you're keeping pace with that other team.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of the same scenario, right? So you're kind of matching their matchup there. But Yamamoto, to close out a series again, you get him 2 under his belt, 2 winner-take-all games. He shuts him down. You're lining him up for game 3 in Yankee Stadium, which might be your best bet, because he's been there, done that, especially if he just comes off of doing one against the Mets. Then you have Flaherty in a bullpen game to start the World Series. Then you got Yamamoto in game 3. I'm not mad at that, Joe.
I'm not feeling, if they win tomorrow, let's say 7-4, it's not really close. I don't know how the hell they're going to lose. They'd have to get a major injury with somebody. They're just, I don't know. I'm not feeling anything right now as far as fear. There isn't a fear anywhere. I know it can change in baseball, but it's almost identical to 2017. As soon as they beat Arizona in game 2 in the NLDS, I said, this is going to be a sweep. And then they went and destroyed the Cubs 4-1. I'm like, Houston has no shot. And then
that was not that game against
Kershaw
Arizona
deals in game 1. I'm like, I don't know. I maybe I'm getting ahead of myself. Maybe I'm getting too confident. I don't know. Something happened in that game 2 that just, I'm sorry, game 3. Just something.
They came together.
They're like, forget this. And the way Muncy said,
80% of you.
He was, I know Muncy can
run hot, yeah.
With Bumgarner, and I saw him do some stuff when Manny before, but I mean, he was pissed. And that's all we ask. Get your stuff out. You guys want to be businesslike. You want to be the Yankees of the 40s with your suit and Joe DiMaggio and, the boys, all, pinstripe and all. I go, hey, I'm down for that. I don't mind you guys being businesslike, but you got to execute. I don't think these guys are not a lot of these guys. Ohtani, of course, you could say Freddie Freeman to a degree, Mookie, but guys like Muncy, guys like Kike, these guys are junkyard dogs, man. You got to unleash these guys. And
I think that what Muncy did was show us that this is what they were thinking behind the scenes. They just never showed us. I think it was there. I just think they didn't let it out, and they finally did, which is what we've been asking for. This is exactly we just wanted to see it.
You're 7 games away from starting something big here.
Mm.
That's how I would present it. And I think maybe that's what Roberts has said. If you win this year, we are about to go on a run. We're about to go on a dynasty run. We have the best player on the planet in his prime, and he's going to pitch next year. And you're going to have Yamamoto a year in. It's just like 2000 right now. It's feeling like just like 2000 with the Lakers. You probably said, let's get a little. I mean, they were going to they were competing. Last year was like the dead year, right? They were going to compete, but there was also some understanding, especially with all the stuff that was going on, that, let's get us under the belt. But, Ohtani's going to pitch next year. Imagine getting one now, and then he pitches next. I mean, it's just looking at a run here, and that's what I'm excited about. Get these 7 wins. I don't care who you play, and let's go on a run. I want to spend the next 6 years in the 20s talking about the Roaring Dodgers.
Yep.
The Dodgers have not gone back-to-back in their history. They've been around since 1884. They're the Tim Duncans of baseball. Only problem with Duncan is he'll never be able to do it, right?
Yeah.
Dodgers need to start winning back-to-back titles, or at least try to do what the Giants did. 3 out of 6. 5? 3 out of 5. Something like that where you have a run. But back-to-back, when you win the first one, I want back-to-backs. I want three-peats. I want the Yankees of the late 2000s. I'm sorry, late 90s.
The late 90s, I think that's the one I likened it to earlier. I think that we have potential to match that.
I know I'm getting ahead. Believe me, I know exactly what I'm saying, but that's the point. Point is, this is how you have to think. This is how you have to be ready.
I don't think you're thinking ahead, because you're thinking we have to get the first, which is just the first. Yeah, we got to get the first one.
And know that I'm not going to just be happy with the first.
Yeah.
And let that be a motivating factor. You got to get this so that you can have more and be part of something bigger. Everyone's already rich. Everyone's already famous. You might as well, you got every resource on the planet. You might as well win now. Go get it. 102 miles an hour for Kopech on that Cronenworth pitch, by the way.
It's crazy. So, but yeah, on that note, we're almost hour 45 in. Not going to quite reach the 3-hour mark like we did the night that we wanted. But great job by the Dodgers tonight, man. Great start to this series. Kind of set the tone, announced their presence with authority there. And great outing by Flaherty. Great outing by the bullpen. Great outing by the bats. Great job managing by Dave Roberts. And great show, Joe.
Thank you again for having me. I'm enjoying the Dodgers show. Been asked to do Dodger shows from my colleagues, but during the summer I couldn't do it. It's too many games, too much airtime on at that point with my schedule. But when it comes to the playoffs, you make exceptions. There's a day off here and there too. That's a little bit more convenient. But this is playoff time, and I want to talk Dodgers, and I want to talk with someone that knows baseball. It's very difficult to talk to people about baseball these days. Hardly anybody watches, at least in my circle. So I'm very happy to have me here, and I'm looking forward to talking again tomorrow.
Yeah, yes, sir. Well, we will be talking.
And again, I know you'll probably want to go. We'll talk after the show, of course. However that plays itself out, we'll let the situation call for itself.
Yep. And you doing the show tonight? You want to let the people know?
Yes, I'm going to be doing. I'm probably going to be doing a nightcap tonight. It's going to be geared towards more of the Dodgers versus the Lakers, but it is the Lakers fast break. You can go on YouTube, youtube.com/Lakers fast break, and it should be on in about 1 hour.
Perfect. So we'll catch you guys over there. I'll be in the chat more than likely for sure. Gonna walk the pup a little bit and then get back over here. So good sports Sunday. Hope you guys enjoyed it.
Good talk also for my Yankee crew out there, guys.
Yeah, you guys are great.
Yankee rivalry too. I want if somebody came to me and said, "Hey, you want the Yankees for the next 4 years?" Absolutely.
Yep.
Yes.
It's great for baseball. It's great for me. It's great for my family. I love it. I can't wait. This is exactly what I want. The Mets are not the same. It's cool.
I don't mind waxing the Mets in the NLCS every year too.
Yeah, no, I don't. I'm saying it doesn't have the same pull, like it is. No. I don't mind it either. But But yeah, so on that note, guys, we're going to go ahead and shut it down for the night. Appreciate you guys tuning in. I'm going to try to hit you guys with a pregame tomorrow, depending on what I got going on in the morning. It's an earlier game around like 1 p.m. tomorrow. So pregame, maybe a postgame. I've got a meeting lined up that I scheduled prior to I knew what this baseball schedule was, and it's kind of important, so I can't really get out of it. So my postgame may be a little later after the game, maybe not right after, but maybe 30, 40 minutes after, depending on how that goes. But I'll be talking to you guys several times tomorrow. Make sure to pull up on Lakers Fast Break for the Dodgers nightcap with Joe Sorrow tonight. Go subscribe over there. And like I said, drop a like on the video on the way out if you have not done so already. Subscribe to the channel if you have not done so already. Appreciate you guys being here. Y'all could be anywhere in the world, but you're here with us, and we appreciate that. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Enjoy your Monday. Let's go Dodgers, and let's get game 2, y'all. We'll catch you guys on the next one. We're out of here.